Hey guys, what's going on? Original Gamer StevieStrow, how are you? It's been a while since I've done anything on my ogStevieStrow channel. And the focus of my ogStevieStrow channel is to go back to doing things, or not to go back, but to focus on things that are just from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So retro video games, retro computer games. And as it so happens, the coolest thing has happened to me today. I was going through taking some pictures of my color computer collection behind me. I came across a binder that had some letters I had received for a game I had wrote and distributed through bulletin board systems of the time. Now, I started on the color computer writing games in BASIC, and it's like 14 years old, and I thought to myself, this is what I want to do when I grow up. I want to make games, you know. I want to program, I want to make games. I never learned assembly language at the time because I was a dumb kid and I thought it would be too hard. And so I went to college for computer programming, and I just kind of naively said, well, that's when I'm going to learn assembly, and that's when I'll learn how to make the awesome games I want to make, and then, you know, then the big bucks will roll in, right? Well, it turns out they didn't teach assembly, and it was, you know, kind of a crappy school. It was kind of a joke. But I was in one of the classes I had to take was a freaking basic programming class, and I'm thinking, what are these guys going to teach me in basic? I've been using basic for 7 years already. So in that class, I started the impetus of a game that would become called Cosmic Aliens. Now, while they were still using like GW Basic or Basic A in the class, I already was using like I was using Quick Basic, which was from Microsoft, and it's a full screen compiler. You can write things out in basic code, but then compile it down to run, you know, as basically a DOS executable. So, you know, these guys were not going to teach me anything. So I was the kid sitting next to me. I would go, hey, but you know what? I can make a Space Invader game. And he's like, no, you can't. I'll go, sure I can. And I just started making it. And that was where it began. And that was in 1988. The game grew. The game evolved. This is before Al Gore had invented the internet. So it was circulated through local BBSs in the, you know, South Florida area, Miami, Fort Lauderdale areas. And it kind of made its rounds. And so I did have my 15 minutes of fame in the late 80s for being kind of a programmer and video game designer. And there are 3 notable things that happened with this one game, which, by the way, we're going to get to and you're going to see. But one of them was I had a company write me a letter and say they wanted to buy it from me. And so this was dated September 7th, 1989 from a company called Ninga Software, N-I-N-G-A Software. That's in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, no less. And so, dear Mr. Strobridge, Ninga Software Corporation markets and distributes software in the United States and Canada. We have become aware of the program Cosmic Aliens, and we understand you developed it. It appears to be an original, entertaining, and well-designed program. We may be interested in contracting with you for the distribution rights for this program and possibly other programs which you may have already designed. If you're interested in establishing a more conventional retail distribution for your products, please forward your most recent versions of your program to the above address. I expect we will be able to evaluate your software and, if warranted, offer you a contract within 3 weeks of receiving a copy. Sincerely, Sergey S. Skirfield, president of Ninga Software. I don't know if they're still around. I don't know where they ended up. This was the envelope addressed to me, so that was kind of cool. So that was one thing that was cool with this game. Another thing that happened, this is dated July 27th, 1989, but so I got something in the mail from a guy, and he goes, hi, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Patrick Grote. I am a hopeful writer. I write to you today to let you know about my activities in the past month. I have reviewed at least one of your shareware public domain programs. So why write? Good question. I would like to get the actual author's feedback on my review. I want to know if you agree, disagree, or are neutral. I also want to know how your registration is going, only if that is not too much to ask. I feel that there is a void when it comes to people actually registering their programs, so I want to help. My reviews can be seen on 3 national nets, the WWIV net, the Interlink, and the Star net. And my collection of reviews, presently 3, has been made its way across to Europe. I am published on the semi-monthly Modem News Online and also in several user group newsletters. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to have to reach out to this guy and see. And so in his latest review, he reviewed a few different programs. And mine was on the top of the list. And now I will actually read for you his review too, because I got a kick out of reading this now, looking back. So, Alien 197. don't judge a book by its cover, or don't judge shareware by its documentation. And so now here is the review. You know the familiar ritual. Log on to a BBS, read some messages, go to the transfer section, look for the new files, read their descriptions, download the one that says great or something like that, and then log off. You then go and uncompress the file, you read the doc file. Sometimes, most of the time for me, I trash the file if the documentation isn't very good, or if the program isn't what I'm looking for. I would have trashed Alien 197, but I ran it because my wife likes Space Invaders. What a surprise! Description, written by Stephen R. Strobridge Jr. Thank goodness I only have to type that once. Alien is a cross between Space Invaders and Galaga. There is a registration fee, but the author forgets to include how much someone should pay. Through the style in which he asks for money, you can be guaranteed that he will deliver a quality product. What's the use? After reading the documentation, you expect to see a bland, rough game that won't challenge you in the least bit. So you drudgingly hit Aliens and start. What happens will surprise you. The game actually asks if you want sound or not. What a refreshing idea. Rather than have it start blaring all sorts of music, it asks. Great feature. You then see the title screen. Ho-hum. Done in block characters, and it's nothing spectacular. Your expectations plummet once again. You then are presented with the main menu. 4 options are presented here. 1, joystick. 2, change options. 3, sound. 4, instructions. 1, 3, and 4 are obvious, but being the curious game player you are, you choose 2. Appearing before your eyes are the following options. 1, adjust defaults. 2, recalibrate joystick. 3, modify difficulty level. 4, change laser shape. Your expectations are starting to gain gratitude. You select 1 and see what you have control over. Assuming it's just color and the like, you freak out. The author has given players the ability to control everything from the number of ships to joystick speed, the way the aliens attack to the game speed as it progresses. Excellent. This is the best control of any game I have seen. Once you finish setting the game up the way you would like it, you can begin play. The play is mediocre. It is the same theme of Space Invaders, but it has a twist. After so many levels, you are presented with a shooting range screen where you have a certain time limit to kill as many aliens as possible. Key movements are sporadic, not flowing, and the fire button is hard to keep on rapid fire. Not having a joystick, I was unable to test that. Yeah, because this was written for DOS and it didn't really scan the keys well. So if you played on keyboard, it wasn't really meant for keyboard. It was meant for joystick. The play is engrossing, though. The game is so simplistic and mundane that you strive to beat it. The game always emerges victorious, and you are trapped to play again until you are satisfied. I must say that the game is one of the very few that I found to be unappealing at first, then became entrenched in. The best feature about Alien 197 is the boss key. It is actually a shell to DOS, so when your boss creeps around into your cube, you can get to it. When you come back from DOS, everything is the same. Good job. Summary: Alien 197 lacks one important element many people consider vital: graphics. People consider it vital to have at least EGA. Aliens 197 doesn't. The author, in his outrageous speech for money, convinces us that he will be there to support the product. Some enhancements planned for the future include mouse support, network support, and better graphics. I suggest, if you like games and don't mind so-so graphics, go with Alien 197, for it offers the best control of any game I have played. Ratings for Aliens 197, he gave me an 8.1 out of 10 for its control and style. Better graphics and smoother control are all that's missing from this superior game. And if you had a joystick, the control is definitely smoother on joystick. So that's pretty cool. And then the third thing, what it was really the coolest thing that happened with this was at this particular version, I was working for a retail store in Fort Lauderdale called the Bite Shop. And so the address I had listed was the address of the Bite Shop. I didn't want people showing up at my house or anything. So these things were mailed to also. but there was a guy in the military, let's just say it was the Army, I don't remember what branch, but he was in the military, and him and his military buddies actually played the game and were fans of the game. So when he was in Florida, he came to the store where I worked and came and met me and told me how much he liked the game. And I just thought that was really cool. And so what I had done at that time for him too was, and of course I've lost the source code to this, I don't have it anymore, but I still had the source code back then, and I just kind of recompiled a custom version for him that he could take back. And I'm like, special version for, Sergeant Wilco, whatever his name was, and, Troop 123 and Battalion 4, whatever his whole thing was, I had like customized it for him, recompiled it, and gave him a copy to bring back, and he thought that was cool. So yeah, so my one quote-unquote commercial or official game that made its way around the bulletin board sphere saw some mild recognition in the late 80s, and that's really my only claim to fame was then. I had made hundreds of programs for the color computer that nobody ever saw except maybe 2 of my friends and maybe my parents, and those are all gone too. So as I'm like contemplating what my first new retro software project is going to be, the fact I found one, and what you're going to see next is gameplay footage from the video, because after I found these papers, I go, what are the odds? What are the odds this might be on the internet? And I did a Google search, and damn it, I found it in 2 different websites in a zip file, and I downloaded it and I unzipped it. It won't run in Windows. I had to not only run it in DOSBox, but I had to like dumb DOSBox down majorly, because this was written at the time of the PC XT, like the 8088 processor. And so I had to like dumb down DOSBox, and I had to like reduce the cycles of DOSBox down to like 1%, just to slow things down to where it was playable, because it was just running so fast. But I now have the, wasn't the newest and most recent version, but it's the one that coincidentally is the one that got the review. The last time I had touched this was maybe in the late 90s, because I still had the source code. I had actually added like scrolling star fields in the background, and it added a few more features. It's all based off of this multicolored text, 80 columns by 25 text on the IBM PC. But I had done some more enhancements and was going to continue to do things, and I don't have the source code anymore. But anyways, you've heard me babble long enough. Let's check out the gameplay footage. Let me know what you think. I will eventually find a way to make this available. You can Google it too, and maybe I'll put the links where I found it, but I'm going to probably put it up on my website and maybe give you some user-friendly information on how to configure DOSBox, or maybe share my DOSBox config file with you and how I dumbed it down to make it work. So check it out. Let me know what you think. All right, that's it. That concludes your first peek at the cosmic aliens for DOS. Now, yes, the graphics did exist, and yes, Quick Basic did graphics, but I started this on, I think the PC I started it on in my classroom was only a monochrome PC, so I started it using only text symbols, and that's how you could get the most speed as well. So the graphics aren't great, but the gameplay is comparable for what you would expect from a game from the 80s. You know, obviously inspired by Space-Invaders and Galaga, throwing in a couple of twists, and that's it. So if you like this, check out all of my YouTube channels. I've got my original gamer channel with video games from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We've got the new color computer channel with nothing but Coco. And then over here, we have the new PC games and Minecraft and stuff will be on my 21st Century Gaming channel. If you want to support my endeavors, you can either get yourself a t-shirt, a coffee mug, or whatever, or become a patron. So thanks for watching. ogStevieStrow saying peace out and stay retro, people. Bye-bye.